Hello and welcome to Model Office Training video. This one we're going to take a look at the new action tracker that we've just launched on the system. The action tracker really pulls together a lot of the information that you may see on your dashboards across the individual areas, the 5 keys we call them, which are integral to ensuring that you have a highly compliant, client-centric and sustainable professional practice. So for example, if we go into your focus, this is really focused on the rule book. So this is all the heavy lifting around the COBS rules and so forth. And here you've got a Heatmap Dashboard, which looks at the business functions. And you can start to see here that how the heat mapping works from low strength to high strength. And you can go and take a look at the individual areas that you might want to look at, looking at the actual questions that you've been asked, and all below that then you've got the what we call dynamic steers, which is the learn how to grow your scores. But what a lot of our users have said is that they would prefer a more granular approach as well, so they have effectively an action tracking system or an action plan. So we've built an automated action plan and compliance diary system. The way you access that is you just click on the action tracker. So click on up here at the top of the page and you'll see the action tracker appear. Then we've got each of the questions across all the 5 key areas are now RAG rated, red, amber, green. And they have been RAG rated and assessed and scrutinised by Rory Percival, many of you who may know, who's an ex-FCA professional and now has his own compliance and training and development consultancy. So Rory has looked at all the questions, he's made suggestions across the questions, scrutinised them, audited them, and then we basically have the RAG rating system where each question is RAG rated high risk, significant rule breach, medium risk, rule breach, or low risk, good practice. Now this RAG rating system will not change, and you can see down here what the system has selected is all the high risk significant rule breaches that need your attention. Up here we have question severity, action status, business function and person responsible. So here what we've got are key areas that you can use filters on to take a look at if you want to look at, for example, the high risk regulatory rule breach as we have at the moment, or look at the mediums or the low risks, the good practice information. You can take a look at the actions which you can change on the system as you deal with these individual areas, these risks that you need to complete, so that they're either completed, severely delayed, delayed or on track. And then you've got the business functions that you can take a look at across the 5 keys as you complete these question sets. It's important to mention as well, we've just released a whole new set of questions on the system, so your action tracker will be up to date with the latest question sets from the latest directives across the FCA and other regulatory rules and government policies that will apply to your governance, risk and compliance actions. So let's take a look at this first one. This looks at your focus, strategic planning, 3-year bona fide business plan reviewed annually. This you can click onto that and you go into the modular function of that particular issue to take a look at the action and what needs to be done to complete it. Here we've got the answer. So obviously this has been answered below the required level, which means that we can't complete it. So we need to update that answer when we've got sufficient knowledge that we can update it. The way to do that is we have a notes function down here that you can add the notes, which looks at follow-on actions, delegated to who, handover, date resolved, and so forth. So you've got the evidence, which is good for the senior manager certification regime. And we've also got, in a similar way, looking at accountabilities here, so you can add on the users on the system who are accountable for this particular action. And again, that's good practice for the senior manager certification regime. Here you've got the status key again of completed, on track, delayed or severely delayed on the action where you are. And over here is your compliance diary. You just click on the calendar icon here. This will go into your diary and then you'll get alerts from the system and a countdown clock effectively to ensure that this action is addressed and done before the target remedy date, and if not, then it all goes into red and you're encouraged by the system to make sure it's completed. So what you can do to move this forward is, you can see we can't click on completed at the moment. what we need to do is go to the update the answer. We'll update the answer. We have this, and it's above the required level. You might have yes, no's, or NAs. If you go into the yeses, then the same thing will apply. You'll be able to complete it. Update your answer. The system should tell you then that it's updated. You've got it and it's above the required level. And then you should be able to go into this system and address it as completed. And there we go. And then in the history function down here, what you're seeing is effectively anybody who's answered the questions. You'll be able to look at how they're answering the question, addresses risks, for example. If anybody's doing it, answering the same question differently within your organization, that's a risk. And also it just looks at the history of how the person has answered the question, and then you can add the note that it was resolved, for example. And then you click and add the note, and the date is in there with the person's details against that too. So it's all good evidence and accountability procedures for the senior man certification regime, and also showcasing that you're managing the risks in your business. Then all you'll do is you'll go back, and then that should there they go, it's disappeared, so you can't see that anymore, and you can move on to the next level there. If you go on to completed in the filter box, that's what we've just completed, and you can see the status is there, is completed. So there's the action tracker. We'd encourage you all to get on it and have a play. If you've got any questions, any queries, do email us at info@model-office.co.uk. Thanks for your time.